I bought this hoverboard over 3 years ago for a project I just never ended up using it for, and it's been sitting around in my house ever since. It's far past time I get this thing disassembled for parts and get it out of here. It's currently August, and I had this shed installed around the beginning of February. I'm finally almost to the point where I can move everything in, but let's rewind first. I finished the roughing in of the electrical, so the panel is gonna go right there, and then I have 4 circuits here. So I have a 15 amp circuit, 14 gauge for ceiling outlets, and then 3 12s for 20 amp circuits for outlets for north, southeast, and southwest. So the north outlets are 1, 2, 3, 4, those. And then you can see the lights continue on along there to that switch. And then I haven't done this part of the wiring yet, but they'll run up there to those 3 outlet boxes. Here are the spoils from disassembling that hoverboard. Not too much stuff, honestly, but I got a few good things. These are motor mounts, so these will be really handy when I actually want to reuse the motors. And then just a few random things here. I got this little speaker, which will be handy for something. A nice momentary contact, so this is the power button on the hoverboard. And then I think this is mini XLR. This is used for the power pass-through for charging. So I'm sure that'll come in handy for something down the road. Then the real star of the show here is the battery pack. So this is 100 watt hours. I think this is 7S 2P, and it's got a little BMS in there, so you can just charge it directly from this. I'll probably take the wall wart, and I already snipped off the end of the connector from it, and I'll just throw a XT60 on here. And then, of course, we've got the 2 hub motors. I don't have a problem. You have a problem. Look, I got these things on sale. We've got this bird bath in the backyard, and it's pretty nice, but we have to empty it out every few days. Otherwise, it ends up with mosquito larvae in there. I don't know if you can see that. There's some floating on top, and that's pretty disgusting, so I want to fix that. Problem is, though, there's no outlet nearby, so I don't have a great way to get power over there. However, I do have this dingus, which sends fiber out to my shed, and I think I can use the 24-volt port on that to get power from here over to the fountain. I got this little 24-volt pump off of Amazon, and supposedly it uses around 6 watts. So in theory, I can just take 24 volts from right here, and this guy can output a total of 12 watts. So this fiber connection uses something like 2 watts and then another 6 here. I should be well under budget. After several months of procrastination and then a couple weekends of hard work, I have all of the insulation done in the shed. I decided to go with foam board for the ceiling, so I have little furring strips running up underneath it or behind it that I screwed into with these fender washers. And then for the walls, I did rock wool. Anybody who tells you that rock wool is way nicer than fiberglass is a dirty liar. This stuff is disgusting and itchy, and it gets all over the air and has a horrible dust. It is just the worst. Also the worst is the spray foam insulation. This stuff, it's not great at all. If it drops on any plastic, like this laser cover, it will permanently etch it. So that's fun. That sounds promising. Hey! I may end up with a more permanent use for this battery, but for now I'd at least like to be able to use it as a power bank. A lot of my drone stuff's only rated for 6S packs, but I think this 12 24-volt USB charger might work. Let's plug it in. Well, no magic smoke seems like a good first sign. Now I'm just going to probe the actual USB ports with this cutoff cable, go into my multimeter, make sure that it's outputting 5 volts, which it seems to be. And then check it with this little USB tester guy. Okay, I mean, that looks about right. Let's try the USB-C input. Okay, so it seems like no USB-C output from that. Okay, great. So you just need to plug something in for the Type-C input to read. I also wanted to try something that's going to use the higher voltage settings. So here's a MacBook, and hopefully we get like 60 watts. Yeah, nice, 60 watts at 20 volts, perfect. I'm pretty happy with this fountain. I mean, you know, it works as a proof of concept, but there's a few issues. First of all, right now I don't have any way to turn it off without actually unscrewing the power over Ethernet from the jack, so that's no good. Secondly, this looks pretty ugly. I need to tidy this cable up so it runs actually along the back side of the fountain and isn't as visible. And then finally, this just sucks, right? I need to make this way better, so I'll move it to the center and then probably 3D print something so I can have maybe like 4 little fountains coming out all around it. Let's get that done. I didn't catch it on camera, but this pump died about 30 seconds after I hooked it up to the 3D print. It seemed to work well while it was working, but unfortunately, yeah, I think something just shorted out in there. It's just completely stopped working. It's hooked up to power right now on the bench, and it basically doesn't draw anything, and then every few seconds it spikes up to like 13 watts. And never mind. I opened the pump up and there was a tiny leaf stuck in the impeller. Took that out and it works fine now. So we'll see how it holds up, but at least it's working. Drywallers are coming tomorrow, which means I need to get all this junk out of here and uninstall all the outlets so they can do their job. Once that's done, I'll be able to paint and then move in here for real. The fountain ran fine overnight and all day today. Charlene found these little screen things for the end of a hose, so I hot glued one of those on the end of the intake, and hopefully that'll help with clogging. I also printed this little TPU bracket to go over the edge of the fountain and hot glued everything into place. Is it going to keep working long term? Couldn't tell you. But you know what I can tell you? Thanks for watching.